What's up, everybody? Clay from Sound Rivers here. So been cooped up in the house for a while, but there's a stormwater project close to my house that I could show you guys, and I figured it might be cool to get out and do a live SCM inspection, which is Stormwater Control Measure inspections. So what we have is a dry detention pond, and I'm just going to show you guys kind of what it looks like, its purpose, and maybe if you see one in the future you'll just know what you're looking at. Or stormwater might be something that you're interested in. It's definitely a growing need, and there's a lot of businesses wrapped up in the business of stormwater. So if you got any questions about what I'm talking about today, you can shoot me a message or send a message to Sound Rivers, and we'll answer as best we can. But I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you what we're working with. So here is our dry detention pond. I'm trying to keep my camera as stable as possible. But we have our dry detention pond here, and this is off the side of Firetower Rd. And this parking lot I'm walking in is a little business parking lot. It's got the Channel 12 news station, vision care, chiropractic office. Anyway, the whole point of this detention pond over here is to manage all the extra stormwater caused by all this impervious surface, which is just surface and material that water can't penetrate. So when it rains over here in the grass, the water just hangs out, soaks down into the ground. It doesn't cause a whole lot of problems, but when the water lands here, it's got nowhere to go. It's got to flow somewhere. So that's why parking lots are sloped the way they are. And then they all lead to these little drains right here. And those drains have pipes that all lead somewhere, probably like that. That's a creek that runs under the bridge at Firetower. And to keep the water from totally blasting out that creek, because water is very powerful, deceivingly so sometimes, so to keep all the water from that parking lot from just rushing down there, they built this pond to offset it. And its whole purpose is to capture all of the water that comes off of that parking lot, hold it for like anywhere from a day to 3 or 4 days, if it's a hard rain and if it's functioning properly. And so as an SCM inspection goes, some things that we would look at is this right here. This is what we call an outlet structure, or excuse me, an inlet structure. Inlet, outlet, one of those. But it's a little overgrown. It should not be that messy. So what's happened is there's a lot of extra sediment that has come off this parking lot that just piled up right here as soon as it came into the pond, and that caused a lot more growth. And so they could probably kind of trim that up and dig it out just a little bit, so that the water comes flowing through a little bit better. But anyway, once the water comes through there, it hangs out in this grassy area right here. And like we said earlier, when water hits grass, it just filters down through the soil. So that's what it does, and that's what we wanted to do, because when it does that, it filters the water, filters out pollutants, filters out trash, filters out extra sand and rock and leaves and whatever else is in that parking lot when it rains. Oil from cars, gas, cars, whatever else people are dumping out of their car doors. So it rains, water comes through here, fills up the pond, and hangs out for a few days, and it drains very slowly through that structure over there. That's the outlet structure. So a note on our SCM inspection would be this erosion right here on the top bank is probably from being mowed too short. The little maintenance team might want to let it grow up about 1 inch or 2 right there before gently mowing it down. It'd be kind of hard to do depending on what kind of mower you're working with. But that's not good because it'll just erode faster, which puts more sediment into the pond, which causes cuts in the bank up here. So now we're over here at our outlet structure, and so I actually came out here earlier. This is how I found it, like that, which kind of was the purpose, so it's the idea behind this video. Anyway, here we have an outlet structure. So the water comes in from over there, it hangs out in here, and it slowly goes through this pipe. This structure is cracked, so it probably pops off every time. But that's how it's supposed to be. And a lot of people might think, why isn't a hole at the top so it can drain water better? It's capped on the top so that the water can push up through the bottom, and then if it gets clogged, you can just unclog that pipe through the top. So much harder to unclog something under the bottom. And anyway, this grate right here is the limit. So if the water ever makes it all the way up to this grate, you know, it's just going to rush out of there into the creek, which is what you're trying to avoid. But when you have, you know, like 100-year rain, like, what's gonna happen? These are planned for 1-inch storms usually. So this is calculated to hold all the water that will fall off that parking lot and that building in like an hour with 1 inch of rainfall. I think might be incorrect on that, but I don't know. That's my ballpark without talking to the people that build the thing. So the water rushes into here. You can see the little, that's where the white pipe comes out. So the water normally comes out of that white pipe, goes into that bigger drain hole down there. I don't know if you can see it. And it runs through a pipe over to the creek over here, and goes into the creek under Firetower Road and out into the wetlands. So you can kind of see got some serious head cutting right there, some erosion, which means there's probably more water coming out of there than should be. So they need to kind of work on that. And also, do a quick trot over here. You have to check all the in and out points of all these pipes, because what we have over here needs to be cleaned out pretty quickly. Yeah, see how that sand piled up in there? It's all coming from this creek and from that runoff right there. So water's blasting through here with all the sediment and leaves and everything, and they drop down to the bottom right here and pile up. And if you just let this go, you know, it'll fill that pipe up and collapse all this, and it might lead to problems with the bridge and the road. So stormwater inspections are like investigations where you just follow water and see what kind of problems it's causing and how you can either fix it, solve the problem, or take a step beyond that and use it to help yourself. So, you know, if this was undersized and not working properly and they needed to hold more water for longer in order to not destroy that creek over there, they could put a rainwater harvesting cistern on one corner of this building or something and catch like 5,000 gallons of water or something and use it for whatever, or just let it drain slowly out of the tank after it's done. So or they could resize this thing and make it a little bigger. But that would be really expensive. Which leads me to my next point. There are crews that have to maintain these things, and they need to know things like special wetland plants and bug species and bird species and soil analysis and such. There's engineers that have to calculate all these slopes and depths and structures, like all those little structures. They're all different because each site is different. So there's a lot of personal touch that comes along with the construction of stormwater control measures. Each project's unique. Each project involves a lot of people most of the time. And then when we do one, we work with a contractor that builds the things. We hire engineers to do the plans. We do biological engineers to test the soil and the waters, and there's state permits that have to happen and notaries that are needed, and it's my point is there's a big butterfly effect to just digging in a hole in the ground to catch some stormwater. I think it'd be a good career to get into. Anyway, I'm hoping you guys learned a little bit about stormwater and kind of what we do. Just to kind of recap, they need to fix this little white pipe right here so that it doesn't come off. They need to chill out on the mowing of that hill over there and right here where I'm standing, and they need to clean out that pipe over there in the corner just a little bit, and then I'd say this thing would be operating at 100%. Right now it's at like a 90, 96, which is perfect, you know, as far as I'm concerned, because they're usually not in this good a condition. But anyway, you guys have a good week. Signing off.